Welcome to our channel. Today, we're investigating a really fascinating question that bridges ancient folklore with some pretty surprising modern science.
You've probably heard it before. For centuries, gardeners have sworn by the moon cycles. And cannabis growers are no different. Many claim it boosts everything from potency to yield. But is there any real truth to it, or is it all just superstition? Let's find out.
All right, so to really get to the bottom of this, we need to step into the two very different worlds of cannabis cultivation. You've got your high-tech, data-driven grow rooms on one side, and your traditional, moon-guided outdoor farms on the other.
I mean, think about it. On one hand, you have these incredible labs with sensors controlling every single variable, right down to the millisecond. And on the other, you have this ancient wisdom that insists on planting and harvesting strictly by the moon's phase. It's a total clash of philosophies.
So, to find the truth, we have to stop thinking about this as magic and start looking at it as a set of testable, scientific ideas. We're going to focus on the three main ways the moon could physically affect a plant: through its gravity, through its light, and its influence on Earth's magnetic field.
Okay, so let's tackle the biggest claim you'll hear right off the bat. This idea that the moon pulls on the water inside plants just like it pulls on the ocean's tides. At first glance, this seems to make perfect sense, right? I mean, if the moon can literally move entire oceans, surely a little bit of sap inside of a plant stem is no problem at all. Well, it turns out the physics tells a very, very different story. So the actual tidal force on something as small as a plant is, well, it's incredibly tiny. We're talking about 1/10,000th the force of Earth's own gravity. Things like simple surface tension inside the plant's stem are just vastly more powerful in comparison. So yeah, the whole idea of a sap tide getting pulled up the stem, that's a myth. But, and this is important, that doesn't mean gravity has no effect at all. The real story is so much more subtle and honestly, way cooler. Okay, so now that we've debunked that simple myth, we can finally dig into the three real, scientifically backed signals that the moon is actually sending to plants. See, it's not one big, obvious force. It's actually a combination of three very subtle cues: a rhythmic gravitational pulse, a really unique light signature, and a gentle magnetic tone that plants have evolved over millennia to be able to sense. So instead of pulling the sap up, the moon's gravity creates this constant, gentle metronome. This rhythmic fluctuation helps to set, or what scientists call entrain, the plant's internal biological clock. It actually regulates its core metabolism and water uptake, kind of like a cosmic time giver.
Now check out the color of moonlight. This is really interesting. Unlike, say, a stray LED light in a grow room that can totally stress out a plant, moonlight has a very specific spectrum. It's low in red light and high in far red light. The plant's sensors read this signal as safe darkness, which is crucial because it prevents the flowering cycle from getting interrupted.
And this is where it gets absolutely amazing. Plants are so sensitive, they have these special proteins, they're called cryptochromes, that can actually feel the moon's passage as it slightly disturbs the Earth's magnetic field. This creates a kind of background tone that helps regulate the plant's healthy function. It's incredible. So how does all of this deep, fascinating science actually translate into the practical rules that lunar gardeners have been following for generations? Let's take a look. This table really breaks down which of those traditional rules are actually backed by the science we just talked about. For example, germinating seeds during a waxing moon, well, that's plausible because those gravitational rhythms can influence how seeds take up water. And pruning on a new moon, that's scientifically valid. The plant's metabolic activity is at its lowest then, which means less stress and a much quicker recovery. By the way, if you're finding this explainer valuable, please take a second to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps our channel a lot and lets us make more content just like this. So, here's the crucial point in all of this. Whether any of this actually matters depends entirely on one single key factor: where you're growing your plants. An outdoor plant is completely exposed to all of these subtle lunar signals, that gravitational rhythm, the specific moonlight spectrum, and the magnetic field. But inside a high-tech indoor grow room, those natural cues are almost completely drowned out by powerful artificial lights, blackout tarps, and complex hydroponic systems. In that environment, the moon is basically rendered irrelevant. So after this whole journey through folklore, physics, and biology, what is the final verdict on cannabis and the cosmos? Where do we land? The truth, as it often is nuanced. The moon isn't some magic wand that pulls on sap, but
but it does act as a conductor for a subtle orchestra of environmental rhythms, gravity, light, and magnetism that outdoor plants are genetically programmed to follow. So the ancient folklore wasn't wrong. It was simply describing a very real phenomenon using the language that it had at the time. And that really leaves us with a final, fascinating thought. If plants are this tuned into the cosmos, it just makes you wonder, what other invisible forces and subtle rhythms are shaping the world all around us that we've yet to even notice?
Hit that like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. This content does not constitute medical advice, legal advice, or recommendations for the use, self-treatment, or consumption of any substance.